Welcome to the month of September here at the Stafford Motor Speedway, and for the second consecutive week, it is going to be Kids Night here this Friday night after Mother Nature kind of dampened the race program a week ago.
Yeah, and actually, last Monday in the carts, I asked some of the kids, are you excited for school? What do you think they said?
Yes.
That's exactly what they didn't say. They said no, they were not excited, but they will be excited Friday to race the big wheel race. And I'm wondering, is anyone going to dethrone Jacob Gray, Adam Gray's son, because he's won the last two in a row? But the thing is that anytime Jacob wins, Adam wins. So if Jacob does win this one, the late model field might be in a bit of trouble.
So you're saying Jacob's average on Friday nights in a big wheel is about the same average of his Monday nights in Wild Thing Karts and his Tiger Cup?
Yes, and they're all better than Adam Gray's average finish, I think, too.
Let's talk about Adam Gray for a moment, because it is the Paradiso Insurance 50-lapper, the extra distance event for the late models this Friday night, and Adam's never won it.
It's hard to believe that he and Tom Byrne, who are two of the top late model drivers and have so many wins combined, they haven't had much success in the 50-lap event. That can change this Friday, but Adam's just looking at the big picture at this rate. I know he wants to win, and if he does win this Friday or any Friday before the season ends, it'll be his 7th victory of the year, which will be a new career high. And it'd be a good race to do it in the Paradiso Late Model 50, but I don't know. He finished second last year in the 50-lapper and probably was faster than the defending winner Wayne Corey, but ran out of time in a race that went caution-free. Who would have predicted that race went caution-free? And last week's race, or 2 weeks ago I should say, was a brutal physical affair across the entire late model field, including Adam Gray. So he'll be a favorite, but 50 laps, you don't know if it's going to be clean like last year or it could be tough like 2 weeks ago.
Wayne Corey Jr., the defending winner, do you call him a dark horse?
Yes, I think you can call him a dark horse. He hasn't had the best of years this season. He's been trying to get his way back to the podium. It's a different car. He's with Pat Crutchman, that 10 team, not quite getting the results they're looking for. But if there's one time to flip the momentum around before the season ends, the 50-lapper's the one.
Championship point leader is Adam Gray by 22 points over Tom Byrne heading into the Paradiso Insurance 50. In the SK Modifieds, it's Todd Owen. Pretty secure advantage in the championship standings going into the final month of the season.
I wouldn't say secure, Kyle. You're going to jinx him because even with a 90-plus point lead with the fields we've been having, one or two bad luck nights, and it can change everything. But he's had an incredible season. His worst finish is 11th, which anybody in the SK Modified field will take a worst finish of 11th. That means you haven't really had a bad race. You haven't had much trouble mechanically or in terms of getting involved in accidents. And he's been always a top 5, top 10 car. It's kind of crazy to think he hasn't won since the Spring Sizzler. So I'm sure he wants to return to victory lane, but that consistency is key. And the other drivers, well, they're at his mercy right now in terms of him finding trouble.
Todd is one of 10 different winners this season, an ultra-competitive 2022 campaign for the SK Modifieds. So who's next here in the last 4 weeks of the season?
Well, we have two who won last year that didn't win this year yet. Michael Christopher Jr., who we've documented, has struggled this season, even though he's 6th in points.
He is.
But it's just been a relative down year for the 82 team. And Andrew Moeller, who won last year, he's had a couple good runs this season, but hasn't been in winning contention yet. Those are a couple drivers. Noah Corner, he came close at the end of last year. He's had back-to-back top 10s now in this season. He might be a shot. Jonathan Pulio had his best career finish 2 weeks ago, finishing 4th. So there's a couple out there where you could see 12, 13 different winners in the season if these guys can figure it out and stay up front for the entire 40-lap race.
Ronnie Williams is the most recent winner 2 weeks ago for the SK Modifieds. In the SK Light Modifieds, what a whale of a championship battle. That includes also the most recent winner of Alexander Pearl a couple weeks back.
Yeah, and that was a big one because that was a night where Tyler Berry didn't have the car figured out, finished 11th, and Tyler Chapman finished 2nd. So now you got Chapman as the point leader, and Pearl is tied for 2nd with Berry, 4 points behind Tyler Chapman. And Pearl has the tiebreaker for 2nd because he got 3 wins this year. It's been a heck of a comeback for Pearl since the first 2 weeks of the season, which both ended up in wrecks. Now he went from, 23rd in points, you said some time ago? He's up to 2nd, and he's got the momentum, I think, among the top 3 drivers. But we talked about Todd Owen not having a bad night this season. I think every driver among the top 4 or 5 in the standings have had a bad night. It's tough in the SK Light Modifieds. You have such a big field, a tight field. You start mid-pack, and the racing, the first 5-10 laps, it's like a pack race, 2 by 2 by 2 by 2. You got to avoid trouble, but make your way through the field but you're boxed in. There's nowhere to go. So it's going to be a really fun month to see what Pearl, Chapman, and you can't even count out Amanda West along with Tyler Berry. Amanda's 4th in points, only 20 points behind. If these 3 guys have trouble or finish 10 spots behind Amanda, then you're going to have 4 people within a few points of each other. And you can't discount Charland and Matthews, 40 points behind, but after a couple nights, that can cut real quick.
Yeah, with 28 car fields on the average, you can lose a whole lot of points in a big hurry and find yourself outside looking in. In the limited late models, it's been Jeremy Lavoie who's been on a bit of a streak as of late, kind of chipping in to Rich Hammond's point lead.
It took him a while to get the first win, but he's won 3 of the last 7, I believe now, including 2 of the last 3. It's just a matter of consistently beating Hammond. Even if he doesn't win, just beat Hammond week after week and you can come to that point lead. Lavoie doesn't have the tiebreaker. He only has 3 wins this year compared to Hammond's 4, so it's not just a matter of tying for the point lead. If he's not going to get any more checkered flags, he's got to get past Hammond. So he's got 10 points to gain, 5 positions to gain over a span of a month. It can be done, but it won't be easy.
Not going to be easy at all, and it will continue for the limited late models this coming Friday night. So it'll be fun to watch Jeremy try to pick up his 3rd track title here at the Stafford Motor Speedway as Rich Hammond looks for his first. And we'll wrap up our preview with the street stocks. Last time out, Travis Downey back in victory lane.
What a second half that 42 has had. In the last 8 races, he's had 1 DNF. Otherwise, no finish worse than 4th, including 3 wins. This team has really figured it out, and it's kind of fun to see how that 42 has evolved from their rookie season last year to where they are now. He's really made a name for himself. People know who he is now because he's been in victory lane 3 times, beating some of the best drivers in the division, like Travis Haidar 2 weeks ago. The 11 was right behind him, but he was able to hold off that 11 car in the end. In the big picture, Haidar still has the point lead, a good point lead at that, with his 4 wins. Burt Willett from the back got up to 4th. Does he have enough to beat Haidar on a weekly basis? Not sure. They had the potential, but they got to show it week after week. Because one week he might beat him, another week he might find trouble. Remember that big wreck off of turn 4 with David Mesha Sr.? Burt Willett's involved in that. The week after that, he got involved in the spin right here on the backstretch with Jason Lafayette. Burt needs clean races, good finishes, but more help from Travis in terms of the 11 finding trouble.
Well, those are just some of the storylines in all 5 of our weekly divisions back in action this Friday night, headlined by the Paradiso Insurance 50 for the late models and Kids Night, with the kids on big wheels here on the front straightaway. All the action gets underway 6 o'clock Eastern Time here at the Speedway, and if you can't be here, you can always tune us in on FlowRacing.com.